speaker as well. My name is Florian Brane. I'm the director of Romanian Cultural Institute. And on behalf of the Romanian Embassy here in London and of the Romanian Cultural Institute, I'd like to welcome you all at this celebration of beauty, of authenticity, of traditions, of conservation. In fact, at the third episode, installment, and sadly the last one, of one of the best documentary films ever made about Romania, Wild Carpathia 3. The ambassador, Dr. Ion Jinga, our ambassador to the Court of St. James's, will be here after the film to engage with you and talk about film. So will Paul Lister, the driving force behind this amazing project, and also the makers, very talented makers of this film, Charlie Otley and Alistair Grant. They will all be here after the projection, after the screening, to discuss the film and also to engage in a dialogue with you. It is important to say that this film is a collective endeavor of many individuals and organizations. First of all, the European Nature Trust and Paul Lister, of course, that came with the idea of this amazing film. But also Almond Films, that transformed this idea into an extraordinary achievement. The film was made with the support of Romanian government, so we are very proud to have been Romanian government for the beginning in this adventure. And also with European Union funding. The Romanian Embassy here in London, our ambassador, Dr. Ion Jinga, Romanian Cultural Institute, were, of course, from the very beginning part of this project. I still remember a discussion I had with Paul Lister, right in this very room, way before the film was made, and I'm very happy it came out so wonderfully. So without further ado, the images speak a million words. Nothing compares to them. I haven't seen the film. I can't wait to see it. I wish you all excellent evening here in Belgrave Square at the Romanian Embassy and Romanian Cultural Institute. The screening will be followed not only by speeches, but also by a nice reception, a glass of Romanian wine, so don't go away. So again, thank you very much for coming in such a great numbers. I hope you'll come again in this room and in this cultural and embassy spaces. So thank you again. Have an excellent evening here in Belgrave Square. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming here tonight. I hope you are now convinced that you have made the right choice, not because of my speech, but because of the film that you have just seen, which is more than a documentary. It is a living part of my country transposed on film. In fact, you should never pay too much attention to ambassadors' speeches, as they usually tell you today what will happen tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll try to explain why what they have predicted did not happen. It is therefore my privilege to welcome you, even though post factum, in Belgrave Square for a special screening of the third, not necessarily the last episode in the Wild Carpathia series, Wild Forever. Personally, I have witnessed the making of the series, and I have been the host of the two previous episodes too. And talking now about the last one gives me a sense of sadness, because all good things come to an end. But I do hope this is just the beginning of a new amazing start for the Almond Films and European Nature Trust in presenting the beauty, Aliza, hello, you are there, the richness and the achievements of a fantastic but still little known part of Europe. A beautiful country with unique people, as Charlie Otley pointed out in the film. I mean, it's about Romania. His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, was, as always, so inspired in his message addressed at the launching event of Wild Forever in Bucharest just a few days ago. He said, "Romania is one of the last places in Europe where wild expanses on a meaningful scale still exist. In fact, the Romanian Carpathians contain the largest remaining area of virgin forest in Central and Southeastern Europe. These forests are a feast of biodiversity, exceptionally rich in fauna and flora. This makes the Romanian Carpathians a priceless natural treasure in a continent that has long since destroyed most of its wildernesses. What you still possess in Romania has become extremely rare. Many European countries have little or no primary forest left. For example, in the not too distant past, we had magnificent ancient forests in Britain, but we cut them down so that today only a few scattered fragments survive, and most of the associated wildlife has become extinct."
The second is that you may have read recently or seen a bit in the press, but I'm also rather keen on wolves and bears coming back to the Scottish Highlands within a large fenced enclosure. Wolves, particularly, are moving throughout Europe since the end of Perestroika, and they're making very successful recoveries in France, Germany, and other countries, and they'll never be able to swim across the North Sea. So we have to give them a helping hand. And I don't believe in reintroduction either into the UK, but I do believe in a South African-style game reserve. It's fairly obvious, it's been very successful down there. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen in the Scottish Highlands. So that's another goal of mine. I'll just talk a little bit about the foundation, the European Nature Trust, which was set up back maybe 10, 12 years ago. My father became quite ill, and I spent 3 months with my mother, sitting here today, in hospital when he was fighting for his life. And I then had an epiphany, and one of the outcomes was that I thought that I'd rather be part of the solution than part of the problem. So I got out of business. I thought I was an entrepreneur, I thought I was a businessman, I thought I was a managing director, and I was none of them. I was clearly very passionate about the environment, and so I decided to set up a foundation called the European Nature Trust and spend all my energy in that. So stop bashing my head against a brick wall and trying to be like someone that I wasn't. So the European Nature Trust has got a number of initiatives, and the Wild Carpathia, which we're here tonight to celebrate, really came about from Charlie and Alistair. We're up at Allerdale making a short film about what I'm doing up there in Sutherland. And we got on very well that weekend, and surprisingly. And I decided that the boys should come with me to Romania for me to be able to show them what I would call a real country with real wildness and nature left intact, as opposed to Scotland, which I call a soggy desert. But anyway, we went over to Romania for a few days, and I managed to capture their spirit, and we set upon making the first film, and the story continues. And there's a lot more to come out of this film. It's not just about Wild Carpathia. From this, other companies, the BBC now are talking with me about a huge budget wildlife nature film in Romania, and also a film about the threat to the forest, which is my major concern, because without a forest we lose all these species and animals that we share Europe with.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Ambassador for all his kind support all the way through this project, because you know, we from the word go, this is the third time we've been here, and it's wonderful to see the completion, and actually quite sad to see the completion of a project that has taken pretty much the best part of 3 years of our life. I can only also thank the Romanian people because, well, let's start chronologically, because first of all, it's Paul who really made this happen, because Paul, as he said, when he met us, said, look, you know, this is the Highlands of Scotland. Scotland is a beautiful country. It's a bit barren. The Highlands used to be covered, 2/3 of the Highlands used to be covered with the Great Forest of Caledon, and now when you go there, it's the soggy desert, as you pointed out. And Paul said, look, come and see Romania, because it's like Scotland was 500 years ago. And we went out there and we had a look at it, and we thought, my God, this is incredible. You know, this is a place in Europe where there are wolves howling at night in certain areas, there are bears strolling through alpine pastures, there are wild orchids, there are hot springs, there's the greatest wetland in Europe. You know, the Danube Delta, hardly anyone knows about this place. And wonderful Roman spas. There's so much going on. And so we looked at it and I thought, we have to do something. So really funded by the European Nature Trust, by charity, and by the hope that we might make a difference, we made Wild Carpathia 1. The success of Wild Carpathia 1 really blew us all away, to be honest. I mean, we had no idea that people would respond to it in the way that they did. But most importantly, people within the country responded to it, and we were you know, set with emails with people saying, "Thank you, you've changed the way we look at our own country," and it was really uplifting and inspiring. And so we resolved, if we could, to do more, because I also got a lot of letters from people saying, "Well, you know, what about the Maramuresh? You know, what about the Delta? Because we haven't covered the Delta at that point. There's more to see." So, with the kind support of the government, who did take a bit of a punt on us, to be honest. I mean, I got in slight trouble for mentioning this at the launch of Bucharest, because I said, look, thank you to the Romanian people, because the government sponsored us for episode 2 and 3, you guys paid for it. So, but you know, and they were I think they were very courageous to take a punt on us as independent filmmakers and let us make the films that we wanted to make about your country, and try to reflect it as honestly and openly as we can, with great love and great affection, great enthusiasm, but also show areas that are in danger, the medieval villages, these beautiful forests that are being cut down at a rate of knots, and in 15 or 20 years' time will be gone if we don't do something about it. It's systemic, the illegal logging that's going on. So we made these films, and you know, we wanted to accurately portray it, and the government said, look, go and do it, you know, go and do it. And you know, gave us the funds necessary to make Wild Carpathia 2 and 3, and I commend them on it, and I think the Romanian people should commend them on it too, because this isn't a piece of PR, it's not spin, it's an objective documentary that we made, and we tried to present everything that we saw, and all the wonderful things that make us love Romania so much, but also the dangers that it faces if people aren't more responsible about knocking down old houses and putting up concrete ones, the creepy cement culture, the demise of the forest. We need to protect this area, as Prince Charles said in the film, because it's so unique and it's so precious. So most of all, I'd like to thank Madam Grappini, I'd like to thank the government for taking a punt on us. I think that they're happy that they've done, and I think that the Romanian people are happy, and I hope that you all feel that we've reflected your country in a way that's done with great love, and also with the keen view that we should try to do everything we possibly can to safeguard it for the future. Thank you.
I've been speaking in great detail with the Minister and her aides and regarding the future of Romanian tourism, and not to follow Bulgaria with low-end volume ski resorts and beach resorts. We don't need more ski resorts, we've got plenty of those, thank you very much, all over the Alps. We've got more beach resorts because we've got the Mediterranean, so I don't know how many thousands of miles of coastline we already have. So I can't see the point in developing those areas. I think Romania has to be promoted as a Yellowstone of Europe. And then we can stop people flying over to Yellowstone and Alaska. And we can focus on mature people wanting to enjoy a real beautiful landscape. And all the youngsters of 20s and 30s can go skiing and go to Ibiza and Mykonos and get out of their system and go to Romania later on in their life. Anyway, that's my key comment. Hopefully we're going to spend twice as much, it'll be half as many of them, so that's even better.
So if you have any other questions...